Hello everybody, Matt Goddard here from the Boxing Locker, and today I'm going to talk to you about the potential future clash between Artur Beterbiev and Dmitry Bivol. Now, first and foremost, I'm just going to say I've got an absolute rager of a cold, so I'm very nasally and I apologise for that. If my voice annoys you too much, go back and watch some of the old videos instead, because this one's it's not going to get any better as the video progresses. And if at any point I have to stop the video to cough my guts up and die, then I apologise to you all. So, with that being said, we have got Artur Beterbiev, the absolute beast that he is, coming off the back of a very successful fight with Yarde. I'm going to do a quick little talk through on that, not a huge one, but a quick little talk through on that, an analysis of the fight before we get into the Bivol fight. Now, what a performance, incredible performance. Yarde really stood up to the challenge and performed very well. He showed that he belongs at that level. With that being said, in spite of the success he had in the earlier rounds of the fight, I believe Beterbiev was never in any trouble. I think there were two shots in the fight where he hurt, where Yarde hurt Beterbiev to the body, but Artur just kind of shrugged it off, moved his feet and did what he needed to do to get his recovery in, which was very quick, and then it was back to being the Beterbiev show. He was landing ramrod jabs. He was taking shots, yes, but if you look at the shots he takes, to the head, they do very little damage. He's often shortening the punches, taking the impact out of them, riding with them, or throwing his own shot at the same time, in the manner that Gennady Triple G Golovkin used to do often. He looked exceptional in my opinion. He looked very, very strong. He's a bit of a throwback fighter, you know, he's not afraid to take one to land two. The punches he throws always hurt. He was slowly but surely breaking down Yarde in the way that I expected and predicted. I think the thing with Beterbiev is, even if you're having success against him, even if you're ahead on the cards, those short chopping shots to the top of the head, the punches to the body, those ramrod jabs down the middle, with his power, accuracy and spitefulness, do a lot of damage. And as the rounds progress, they wear on you and the impact is magnified and compounds itself, and as the fight progresses, all of a sudden the same punches in the first 2 or 3 rounds weren't doing so much damage. All of a sudden they're shaking you and you're feeling them, and you're struggling to continue at the same level of output because you're weaker. A quick another note on Yarde. I think the muscle mass is still a problem for him. I think, you know, the couple of times when he had an impact on Beterbiev, he wasn't able to sustain the attack, because I think after 4 or 5 he's always gassed out, and I think he really needs to check that approach and see whether that's necessarily going to be the best way to continue forward for him. A lot of the muscle mass that he has is, in my opinion, unnecessary. With that being said, he's got to where he's got, so, you know, who am I to speak? Another quick shout out quickly to The Loneliest Sport on Instagram. Now, I do not owe these guys anything with regards to, there's no connection, no affiliation. I'm not paid anything to wear this. They sent me this out as a gift to thank me for sharing their stuff on my story all the time. And the only reason I share it is because it's absolutely incredible content. So if you're on Instagram, check out The Loneliest Sport. They do pictures and the captions are just brilliant. It's pictures of old fighters with quotes from their career and information about them. It's really informative and really, really great educational stuff that I personally love to look at. So thank you to The Loneliest Sport for sending me this hoodie, t-shirt, and I've got a hat as well, but I'm not wearing it because hat hair. Anyway, so with that being said about the Beterbiev and Yarde fight, Beterbiev looked great. Yarde done himself proud, and hopefully we see him come again against Boatsi or Callum Smith, or, you know, we'll talk about the machinations of the light heavyweight division at the end of this Beterbiev-Bivol thing. So, getting on to Bivol, obviously coming off the back of the Canelo win. Everybody gassing that up. Very good win, good performance, but, you know, a much bigger man. And really, we shouldn't have been so surprised or blown away by it. You know, Bivol's been boxing much bigger guys his whole career. It's not, you know, Canelo was never really going to hurt him. And I think Bivol actually has a style that is is quite good to box somebody like Canelo, because he keeps it long, keeps it straight. He's not afraid to just put his hands up and move around. With regards to Canelo, I think a lot of you think Canelo is some sort of undefeatable force. But that simply isn't true, you know. I've said in the past in my videos, what he does is he very similar to Beterbiev, but with a slightly lower work rate, breaks guys down. He breaks guys down over 6-7 rounds and then gets them late, in the same way that he did with Billy Joe Saunders, with Caleb Plant. And he's losing rounds in all that time, and I think Bivol comfortably won that fight because of that. And Canelo was never going to hurt him and couldn't get near him with that. So Bivol looking good off the back of that anyway, you know, a couple of good wins. How do they match up as two fighters? Now, let's confront this immediately. Beterbiev is not Canadian. Absolutely not Canadian. He's a Russian living in Canada, maybe a resident, training in Canada. Absolutely irrelevant, okay? You cannot put Beterbiev up as a Canadian fighter on the broadcast. It's rubbish. The guy is not Canadian. Why is that relevant? Why is that important to me? Because you have the WBC saying that they won't sanction the Bivol fight because Bivol is actually Russian and they don't want to sanction any fights for Russian fighters. I saw today on Twitter that they have Kovalev ranked. They have Kovalev ranked and listed as an American because he's a resident of America, I guess. I don't know, or because he trains in America. I have no idea. I just don't understand this rubbish. The politics of it all is frustrating, and really, in spite of everything else, what boxing fans want to see are the best fights. You know, you want to see Spence Crawford. Don't mention it after this. You want to see Inui Fulton. It's happening. You want to see Beterbiev Bivol. You want to see Usyk Fury. You want to see Tank Garcia. You want to see Haney Loma. You want to see all of these, AJ Wilder, you know, all of these fights, and we as fans literally could not give two about what the promoters say, what the finances mean. All we want to see is the fights between the best. And if Beterbiev Bivol comes off, it's going to be one of those fights. So let's get into that now. Let's get into the nitty gritty of the fight. How does it play out? Okay, I did a little prediction of this, kind of breakdown, just a little breakdown of this on my Twitter. For those of you who follow all of my other accounts, you may want to be following me on Twitter. All I would say is I talk about everything on Twitter, so you may not enjoy all of the subjects I discuss, politics, everything like this. It's a personal thing for me. I use it for all subjects and to interact with all sorts of people, fitness, politics, art, music, all that kind of stuff. So if you're just in it for the boxing, then steer clear of my Twitter. With that being said, Bivol better at range. Beterbiev gets hit a lot with long straight shots. He got caught with a lot of lead right hands. Not necessarily a painful shot, but a shot that will land. Obviously susceptible to damage from body shots. Bivol, not a great body puncher. Bivol more mobile. Beterbiev better at closing off the ring and the better inside fighter, I would say. Bivol doesn't punch as hard as Beterbiev. Does he have a good chin? Seemingly so. Does that matter against Beterbiev? The manner in which he punches, high on the head, behind the ears, chopping down. I think it's probably one of those where actually the impact is magnified the more you get hit. And the shots are very concussive as opposed to being like singular knockout blows all the time. Not that he can't land those, but I think the impact of those shots is magnified towards the end of a fight because he's already landed so many of them concussive blows. Beterbiev, great stamina, great endurance, good work rate, really strong jab. Will that jab reach Bivol? I think Bivol has a reach advantage and is a good range manager. He's really good at controlling distance, keeping his shots long and straight. How do I think the fight plays out? With that being said, I think Bivol will probably be up on the cards after 5, managing distance well, getting clipped 5 or 6 times a round with them little shots in the same manner that we've seen in other Beterbiev fights. I think he'll be getting clipped, getting caught with punches, high on the head, around the back of the head, chopping down at funny angles, the kind of way that Beterbiev punches, funny angles. angles, successful angles by all accounts. And I think, yeah, Bivol will be ahead on the cards, probably landing more nice straight shots. And then I think Beterbiev will come into his own as always. From round sort of 6 onwards, you'll start seeing him land more and more. He'll start working in close, getting closer, finding ways to shut the distance down with more head movement. In the way he did against Vosdik, get inside the punches and sort of sit on him and punch. Beterbiev is great at punching with people. He finds more damaging angles than they generally can. We saw him drop against Callum Johnson, so he can be hurt. But I don't think Bivol is a single punch power puncher of the level of Callum Johnson. A better boxer, but not necessarily a better single punch, knockout artist. But Beterbiev got up in that fight and was comfortable afterwards and did what he needed to do to go on and get the knockout himself. He's great at changing the angle of his shots to punch inside punches, as you saw with the Yarde punch that knocked him out. Yarde was in the middle of doing something and Beterbiev chopped straight down inside the punch. Great angling, great arc of the wrist. Really dropped him heavy, and it was a good stoppage from Tunde on that one, by the way. A lot of people do not rate Tunde Ajayi, and I don't personally like him from a promotional side of it, but I think he's done great things with Anthony Yarde as a coach, and that's his job. I think maybe he's interfered too much from a promotional perspective, but you cannot fault what the man has done as a coach with Yarde. I mean, and if you do, then you're willfully ignorant of how hard it is to get a guy from that level to the level he's at now. Again, back to the Bivol fight. So Beterbiev starts sort of steaming through in round 5, 6, 7, 8, and then dominates the fight for the last 3 or 4 rounds. I do not think Beterbiev can stop Bivol. I think he might drop him a couple of times, but I think Bivol will get through the fight. I think he'll demonstrate that he has a great chin and that he's a real warrior. I 100% believe that to be true of him. And I think Beterbiev will win on the cards by 1 or 2 rounds. Though I think it will be clear that he deserves to win. I think it will probably be 7-5 in favour of Beterbiev, potentially a little bit further ahead, because I think he will get to Bivol at some point and maybe drop him or hurt him. So it'll be a bit wider on the cards. But I think it's a Beterbiev unanimous decision, and I think it's going to be a great fight for fight fans across the world to watch. 2 guys that don't seem to be afraid to fight anyone, and everyone else seems to be avoiding as much as possible, with the exception of Canelo, obviously looking for that Bivol fight. But the one thing I would say about that is he's got ready-made excuses all the time. Losing means nothing because he's losing to a much bigger man. So it's laid out for him. The plan of action, the excuses are laid out for him. Yeah. Well, anyway, there's that. So that's my prediction. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It was a long one. I'm really sorry. I went off on a few other tangents. Again, sorry about the nasally voice. Very, very frustrating for myself as well. Interfering with my ability to work. Big shout out to The Loneliest Sport once again. Thank you guys for gifting me this lovely hoodie and the t-shirt I have on beneath, I believe. There you go. And the hat, but I couldn't wear the hat. Great quality gear as well. So just check them out if you want to. And as I said, they have not given me any financial incentive for this, just sent me out this, didn't request anything from it, just to say thank you for me using their content. So anyway, please let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, check out all the rest of my videos. Loads more content coming all the time. I'm a bit ill at the moment, so I'm struggling to record stuff, but I've just done a couple of other bits today, so hopefully I'll have stuff for you guys over the next couple of days. Yeah, thanks for watching the video. Stick until the end if you have, and yeah, don't forget to subscribe, like, and all that good stuff. Take care, guys.